We are sending them to the United States Capitol, where the Biden administration will be able to more immediately address the needs of the people that they are allowing to come across our border.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott has a new plan to handle the growing surge of migrants that are entering his state illegally and overwhelming local communities. You see it reported here every day. In addition to other measures, the state will begin sending migrants on charter buses directly to Washington, dropping them off at the steps of the U.S. Capitol. Governor Abbott joins us now from Austin, Texas, and I know that you are incredibly frustrated that the federal government is not doing its job in order to protect the border. You've committed state resources to do that. A congresswoman from your state, Sheila Jackson Lee, she had thoughts about your proposal. Listen here.
Acts of hysteria and grandstanding, National Guard at the border, to the extent that they're committing suicide. Now announcement of massive buses of migrants that may be coming across, and I think either sending them, I saw the word Washington, I wasn't sure whether they said Washington, D.C. or Washington State. Those are not problem solving. Those are just creating the grand march of hysteria.
Tell us more about your plan. And also, I understand that there was a press release that was issued later last night that explained that the migrants would have to volunteer to get on a bus to go to Washington, D.C. Is that right?
Well, let me explain how this whole process works. First, the big goal that we're seeking to achieve, and that is Joe Biden has refused to come to the border to see the chaos that he has created by his open border policies. So we're going to take the border to him by transporting the people that he is dropping off in these local communities in the state of Texas and sending them to Washington by plane or by bus. What's happening is there's an increased number of people coming across the border that the federal government, are processing and then letting loose. And what has been happening so far is those people will be getting on buses and going to San Antonio or Houston or other places like that. And so I think they just need longer bus rides. With regard to the voluntary component of it, understand this, and that is, Dana, if I were to go to Washington, D.C. And take you and put you on a bus and take you down to the Rio Grande Valley, that would be kidnapping. Same thing applies to anybody who refuses to get onto a bus. That would be kidnapping, even though it would be by a law enforcement agency. So there are laws that have to be followed in this process. That said, I can tell you this. Overnight, there were multiple communities in the Rio Grande Valley that have been in communication with our office asking us to provide buses for them, maybe even planes to provide for them for the movement of these migrants. Listen, these migrants, once they come across the border, it's not as if they want to stay down there in the Rio Grande Valley. As you have already reported previously, they're moving across the entire country. As they move across the entire country, what better place for them to go to than the steps of the United States Capitol? They get to see the wonderful Capitol, but also get closer to the people who are making these policies that are allowing people to come across the border illegally.
So, Governor, in summary, then, you will make the offer, and it's up to them to say yes or no to get on board that bus.
And Bill, here's the deal. This has been happening for weeks, if not months now. So we know the process already works. It's just a matter of relocating the drop-off point as opposed to San Antonio or Houston or some other place. As you also know, the Biden administration has been transporting these people across the country. The same principle applies for the Biden administration. They can't be kidnapping people that they've authorized to be in the United States legally. They have to get their permission to move them across the United States also. And so this is something that we know there's high demand for already, and we will be fulfilling that demand by putting these people on buses and planes and taking them to Washington, D.C.
Understood on that. I don't know what more you could do with security at the border. Perhaps there's a state issue there that you could flesh out there. But with regard to Title 42, about a month and a half away now, it seems like this ball's up in the air. We talked to Tom Cotton 2 hours ago, and Senator Mark Kelly from Arizona, he wants more answers on this. There's a number of Democrats who are on the bubble for being reelected in November. Apparently, there were some concerns with them as well. Joe Manchin is not on board. Now there's Kirsten Sinema from Arizona. It kind of seems like there might be some wiggle room as to whether or not Congress can push back on the idea that Title 42 would be revoked in late May.
Well, you're spot on. Listen, the fact of the matter is this is a bipartisan issue because both Republicans and Democrats realize the chaos the Biden administration has caused, the inhumanity of what the Biden administration has caused. I've heard rumors there may be what's called a discharge petition in the U.S. House of Representatives that would require a vote on this, and you may see the same thing on the Senate side. Listen, everyone realizes, let me give you this astonishing number. According to the Department of Homeland Security, they are expecting, after Title 42 is removed, to have as many as 18,000 people come across the border a day. If you calculate that out on an annual basis, that's going to be more than 5 million people coming across the border illegally every year, and those will be the ones apprehended. And so this clearly is unprecedented. It's a high volume that the United States and states like Texas are ill-equipped to be able to deal with. And the Biden administration has no idea about the chaos that's stoked. You think that Americans are angry about inflation right now? Wait till they see the chaos that's going to occur on the border because of Biden's open border policies.
And it really hurts those who are trying to go through the process legally because everything else gets backed up. Thank you, Governor Abbott. We appreciate you coming on this morning.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.